So when you visit a WordPress website, WordPress under the hood uses a kind of decision tree hierarchy to determine which template of your theme gets used to render the page you're looking at. And this hierarchy looks as follows. It is a decision tree which you read from left to right, and on the left side you see a lot of gray boxes, and these boxes are the kind of page types you have on a WordPress website. And on the other side, all the colored boxes are possible templates that you can put in your WordPress theme, which will get used when you hit a certain type of page. Let's take a simple example and see what happens. The current theme I have is the most basic theme you can have. We have style.css with the theme name and only an index.php, which calls the WordPress header and the WordPress footer. The website looks like this. If we now navigate to a page which not exists, like test, and we go there, we can see the page did not change. And if we now go to our template hierarchy, we can look at which template gets used to render the page we were looking at. If you want to determine which page, you start from the left hand side and you choose the option in the first column, which is most applicable to the page you're looking at. So when we go from top to bottom, we have an archive page. Okay, the page not found page is not an archive page. A singular page, okay, possibly it is a single page. Maybe there's something better. The site's front page, well, it's definitely not a front page because we navigated to something which has a different URL than the front page. The blog post index page, which is also not the current page we're looking at. The error 404 page, and this is the page which gets rendered when a page is not found. So this is the most applicable. The last one is search results page, is also not a search result page. Now that we've found the most applicable one, we follow the line to the right, and this is the first colored block we find. And every colored block is a kind of template we can put in our theme folder, which will get used for this page in this case. We see a 404.php. When we go to our theme, we can see there's no such template, no 404.php, so that one did not get used. Then we skip this one and we go to the next one, and the next one is the index.php, which is the template we have. So this templates get used. Let's see if that is indeed the case. Let's type index.php, save the page and reload the page, and yes, we see index.php. Index.php, if you look at the right side here, you see that index.php is the template which is like a catch-all template. It's also the only template in a WordPress theme which is required for a theme to get activated. It's not really ideal to use this template for multiple solutions, because you want a template to have like a narrower focus on what it outputs. Because if we use this template for the 404 page, for example, we want to say, oh, you found a page which does not exist. Please navigate back to the home page. But if we want to use this template again for, let's say, the front page, you don't want to output that on the front page. And this is why you want more narrow or focused templates. So let's do that right now. We want to have a more specific template for a 404 page, and we see that that is the case. So one step before the index.php, it first checks if this 404.php exists or not. So let's create this right now and let's see if it works. Create a 404.php and let's copy and paste the header and the footer again. Let's rename it to 404.php, save the file, and if we reload it right now, we can see it does not use the index.php page anymore. It now uses the 404.php. Let's take a look at some other examples. If we navigate to the back end of our WordPress website, we can see that we have on the post list, we have one post, which is hello.php. On the pages list, we can see we have two pages. We have a home page and we have a blog page. And you can see with this suffix right here, that the pages are selected to be the primary front page of the website and the primary post page of the website. You can change these settings under settings and then reading. And right here, when you select a static page, you can select which static page gets used for the home page and which static page gets used for the blog page. So let's navigate to the homepage, and we can see that our index.php gets used. But maybe we want something different on the homepage or want something else. So let's find a more specific template we can use for the homepage. Let's return back to our template hierarchy and let's see which one on the left side is most applicable. Let's see, archive page. It is not a singular page. It is a singular page. Let's see if there's something better. The site front page. Well, that seems like to be the best one. So let's move forward. We get one colored block and it says front-page.php. So this is a template we can put in our theme folder and it will get used as the first preference for a template for the site front page. So let's see if that is the case. Let's create a new file, name it front-page.php and copy and paste the header and the footer again, and let's change it to front-page.php. Save it and refresh the page, and now we can indeed see that it uses the front-page.php. What are the other options we could have used? If this front page does not exist in our team directory, you can see we have a choice of two options. Let's see if page shown on front page or post shown on front page. So this is the setting we discussed earlier. If you do not set a static page as your home page, the block archive page gets shown. So this is the post shown on front page option. And if that is the case and you did not select the static page, then if you follow that line, you get to home.php, and we'll see later what this template exactly is. But we selected the page shown on front page option, so it loops back to the page template. And this is the same as if we were looking at another page. If we're just looking at a simple static page, that is a singular page, static page, and then a page template. And when we come to this option, there are two more options. We see there's a custom template or a default template. So in WordPress, you can create templates per page to use for specific pages, and you can select them in the backend. And that is that custom template right here. But that is something for another video. Let's say it's just a default template, and when we follow that line, we get to the page-slug for the first thing. So let's see what that looks like. Let's create a new page in our backend, and let's call it test page and publish it. You can see that the slug which gets generated is test-page. If we now navigate to this page, we can see that it is index.php. That's because we do not have anything specially selected for this, and it is not the front page, so front page does not get used. It will find another template to use. And if we follow that, we can see singular page, static page, page template, no page templates used, and then the next one is page-slug. That does not exist. Page-id does not exist. Page.php does not exist. Singular.php does not exist, so it uses index.php. So let's create a few of these templates. Let's create a singular.php. Let's copy this, create a new file, singular.php, and save it. Singular.php, save it and reload the page. We can see singular.php. The next one in line was page.php. Let's create that as well. Let's copy this one and rename it to page.php. Reload the page, and you can see page.php now does get used. We can go one further, and the orange templates right here are templates which have a variable inside of the name, and that variable is something related to the current post or page we're looking at. And in this case, it says page-id. So that means if we want a template specific for this page, we can create a template with the name page-the ID of this page.php. So let's find out the ID of this page. If we go to the page and we look at the URL, we can see it is post.php post equals 24, and this 24 is the ID of this current page. So let's create a template of this one. So let's create a new file, page-the ID, which is 24.php, and we copy and paste everything of here and we add the -24 to it. Now if we navigate to the page, we can see, now the page -24.php does get used. If we create a template with a different ID, so like 26, and let's rename it for the style, and reload, we can see, okay, page -26 does not match our current ID. So we move on to the next template in line, which is page.php. So this one does not exist anymore, and we move up to page.php. We can even make it more specific by using the slug, which is more specific than the ID. Let's change this back to 24. Let's change this back to 24. And let's create a new template and call it page-the slug of the current page, which is test-page. Test-page. Save it, reload the page. And now this one gets used because it's more specific than the ID. Let's now look at an archive page. If we go to our pages, we can see that our blog page is our blog archive page. And if we navigate to it, we see that we only have the index.php file right now, which is a catch-all for everything. So it gets used because nothing more specific is defined. So if we go to here, we can see archive page. Well, it is kind of an archive page, but it is a special archive page because it is the default post type post of WordPress. So there's a special case for this, which is the blog post index page. And this blog post index page has one template before we get to the index.php, which is the home.php. So if we go back and we create a home.php, and we copy and paste this inside of here, and we use home.php and we reload the page, we can see it uses home.php. Okay, now for the next example, let's create a custom post type. I'm here inside the functions.php of my WordPress theme, and let's create a new action on the init hook with an inline function. Let's register a new post type and let's call it movies. Let's add an array with options and give it the labels movies and the singular name a movie. Let's make it public. Let's give it an archive, which is for our archive example. So let's save this and go to the backend and reload the page, and we can see we now have a movies archive page. If we create something with new routes, of course, as always, save your permalinks. This is a topic for a whole different video, but let's create it. Now if we go to the archive, we can go to the /movies route, and we can see that the index.php template is used. Now let's go back to our template hierarchy, and we can now follow the archive page option, which is the page where we're on right now. If we are at the archive page, we have a few options to choose from. Is it an author archive? No. Is it a category archive? No. Is it a custom post type archive? Yes, probably. Is the custom taxonomy archive? No. A date archive? No. A tag archive? No. It is a custom post type archive. Let's follow the line. And then the first template that gets hit is archive dash the name of the post type. Again, this is an orange variable route, so it is a template name with a variable name inside of it. If that does not exist, then we go to archive.php and then we go to index.php. So let's create an archive.php. Let's call it archive, save it, archive, save it, and reload. Now you see archive gets hit. If we want to make it more specific, which I really recommend for an archive of a custom post type, you probably want to do some custom things on that page, we can create a page archive-post type. So let's create that. Let's copy the archive and add -movies.php and archive-movies.php, save the file, reload the file, and you can see the archive-movies file now gets used. Now let's see what we can do with the single page. So let's create a new movie. Let's call it movie and publish it. let's go to the front end and we can see singular.php gets used. So we created the singular.php earlier because we wanted to see the homepage and the static page, what template that uses, but it is now also used by our custom post type single page. So let's see why that happens. It is a single page, so it is not an archive page, it's not a front page, it's not a blog page, not a 404 page, not a search result page, it is the single page. Then we get two options. Is it a single post page or a static page? Well, it's not a static page, it is a post type, so it is a single post page. Then we can see, is it an attachment post, a custom post, or a blog post? Well, it's not a blog because that is the default post type of WordPress. It's not an attachment, it's not a media file, it is a custom post. And if it's custom post, then we can see again the custom.php, which is templates, where we're not diving into today. And the next one in line is the single dash post type dash slug. This is a template with two variables inside of it, post type and slug. And if we go one deeper, we can see single with only post type. And if we go one deeper, it is single.php. And if we go another one deeper, it's singular. So this is the one we're at right now. Let's see if we can work our way up. Let's use single.php. So let's copy this one, call it single.php, and call it single, save it, reload the page. We can see single.php now gets used. Let's make it more specific, so single-post type.php. Let's take single and call it movies, single-movies, single-movies, save it and reload the page, and now single-movies gets used. Let's make it even more specific. We can use single-post type slug. And let's copy this one. So the post type is movies and the slug of the current name is movie. So let's see, create it, movie, movies dash movie, save it and reload the page. And now we can see single dash movies dash movie.php gets used for this page. If we go back to the backend and create another post with the name movie2, for example, save this and go to the page, and we can see single dash movie gets used and not single dash movie because it has a different slug. It does not have the movie, it has movie2. So if we copy this one, call it movie2 and save it like this and reload it, and now we can see it uses that template. So this is the basic of the WordPress template hierarchy. I really advise you to try it yourself and see if you can match the right templates with the right pages on your own WordPress website. Thank you for watching and goodbye.